You most gorgeous and amazing top 10ers. Today, we are back with another video on top 10 fattest people in the world. Number 10. Donna Simpson. At her peak weight, Donna Simpson weighed over 600 pounds, but most people remember her at a relatively modest 532 pounds. Because that's when she became pregnant with her daughter. While the rest of the world was counting calories and trying to slim down, Simpson increased her food intake to an alarming 15.0 calories per day in an attempt to become the fattest woman ever. She earned her massive meals and treats by ranking in over 90.0 a year as a supersized big beautiful web model. Christine, she became the heaviest woman to give birth in history, and gave up on her goal of being the fattest woman after learning that her fiancé and the father of her child had abandoned her. Number 9. Monica Riley. At her heaviest, Monica Riley, a morbidly obese funnel-feeding model, weighed a whopping 700 pounds. However, she vowed not to stop there, eating a gut-busting 10,000 calories a day, like Donna Simpson. She was willing to spend her days binging on food to reach the big goal. The Fort Worth, Texas, fetish model was almost at her goal weight of 1,000 pounds, which would have made her practically too big to move her fiancé. The majority of his time was spent satisfying her voracious need for high-calorie smoothies, with a whopping 3,500 calories in her shakes. From double cream Pop-Tarts milk and weight gain powder, Monica drank it all in a very creative way through a funnel feeder while being watched by her 20.0 internet fans. Number 8. Shannon Lowery. Having reached her heaviest weight of 739 pounds, Shannon Lowery is among the heaviest women on this list. She gained most of her notoriety from the recently aired episode of the show My 600-Pound Life, which featured the world-renowned weight loss surgeon Dr. Now, the 39-year-old recounts her arduous journey towards becoming morbidly obese. For almost her entire adult life, she has never had an easy time with this struggle, having weighed 100 pounds at age 7 and 450 pounds by age 17. When Lorraine finally made the decision to see Dr. Now last year, she was at her heaviest when the good doctor weighed her from his Houston, Texas office. She tipped the scales at pounds. At the time, Shannon relied on her husband Simon Johnson for pretty much everything, a duty he faithfully carried out for the 10 years they had been married. Since meeting while playing video games online, Shannon's weight loss journey seemed amazing as she lost 41 pounds at first. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 7. Susanne Eman. Does it come as a surprise that morbidly obese Susanne Eman formerly topped the scales at over 800 pounds? She typically feasts on incredibly huge meals that total up to a horrifying 30,000 calories per day. She got through hearty breakfasts, large dinners, and sweet drinks paired with oily snacks. She was engaged to Chef Beyoncé Parker Clock at the time, but her 2 kids objected to the potentially fatal mission. She also aspired to become the fattest woman in the world and the largest bride in America. After hearing her son's concerns, they understandably became concerned for their mother's health and well-being. Susanne turned to a residential weight loss clinic for professional assistance, and before her 2013 wedding, she lost almost half of her body weight. Her fiancé, Parker Clack, thought she had changed too much and called off the wedding. Fortunately, Susanne found a new love a short while later, and the two of them embarked on a mission to return to Susanne's previous weight. Number 6. Barry Austin. Fat Baz Barry Austin was dubbed Britain's fattest man after his binge-eating lifestyle caused him to reach a massive 910 pounds. His peak weight was verified in a Sky One documentary, where he acknowledged the negative aspects of his lifestyle, admitting to consuming up to 12 liters of fizzy drinks per day, and acknowledging the dark side of his eating habits. In a message to his old friend and fellow blues enthusiast, broadcaster Tom Ross, Barry revealed that he was having difficulties following his dramatic weight loss of 280 pounds. After having a gastric balloon inserted and cutting his daily caloric intake to a meager 1,500 Calories. Derry had been bedridden for 6 years. Derry tragically died on January 1st of this year following a heart attack that resulted in him falling. Number 5. Ricky Jr. Nepuri. Known as the Go-Manian man who ate himself to death, Rick Deputy battled his food addiction for many years. The grueling battle was briefly documented in a television documentary called 900-Pound Man, which aired on the US network. The documentary followed Ricky and his wife Cheryl during the man's final 3 years of life. At that point, Ricky was too heavy to do anything, had not been able to walk on his own for more than 7 years, was unable to speak without becoming dizzy, and was too obsessing operation. However, every doctor he spoke to insisted that he first lose at least 90 pounds on his own because it would have been too risky to attempt gastric surgery given his condition at the time. In the end, Ricky's 10-year marriage broke down, and without anyone to help take care of him, including eating and bathing, he fell into a deep depression about his condition. Ricky passed away in November 2012, the age of 39, with doctors blaming morbid obesity for his death. Number 4. Carolyn Yager. Carolyn Yager was the most severely obese woman in history, weighing 1,189 pounds, the only woman to reach 1,200 pounds, and possibly the heaviest weight ever recorded. Her eating disorder, which she developed as a child after being sexually abused by a close family member, was the cause of her obesity, and she claimed that her sweet treats provided her with momentary relief. Life was never easy for her. Throughout her life, Yager experienced numerous health issues related to weight and intermittent bouts of severe depression. When she was at her heaviest, Heather was largely immobile and completely dependent on her 14-year-old daughter Heather and son Stephen Bishop, among other carers, friends, and nurses. In her last year, Heather lost roughly 500 pounds after being prescribed diuretics and following a restricted 1,200-calorie diet. While hospitalized at Hurley Medical Center, she passed away at home in the following year, with kidney failure and morbid obesity being the contributing factors. It is impossible to fully capture Heather's 1,000-pound life in a mere 100 words, but listing her here is a place to start. Number 3. Khalid bin MOHSEN Shaari. Khalid bin MOHSEN Shaari, who was once the heaviest living person and the second heaviest person ever recorded in Saudi Arabia, peaked at 1,345 pounds. Unable to move on his own, Shaari spent a little more than 3 years confined to his bed, a situation that prompted Saudi King Abdullah to step in. Shaari was subsequently sent from his home in the southern city of Jazan to the King Fahd Medical City in Riyadh, where he received treatment and shed an incredible 700 pounds by following a strict fitness routine, healthy diet, and gastric band operation. In order to surpass American Rosalie Bradford, who had lost pounds to win the title, Shaari needed to lose an additional 218 pounds. According to some sources, though, Shaari eventually lost a whopping 1,195 pounds, making him the biggest loser in history. Now, it's time for today's best pick, which features a well-known face and possibly an even more well-known story that highlights the struggles of living with obesity on a daily basis. Number 2. Kenneth Brumley. 1,033 pounds, the father of ballooned to his staggering size. On a daily diet of 30,000 calories, he gained the weight so quickly that he was unable to do anything at his peak weight. He was bedridden for 4 years, as his enormous legs buckled under his own weight, leaving him alone and unable to take care of himself. His story was featured on Channel 4's Body Shock documentary series. Brumley made headlines when he was accepted for rehabilitation at the Renaissance Hospital in Houston, Texas. A full fire department was needed to help him leave his home and get to the hospital. His daily caloric intake was cut to 1,200, and after he reached a safe weight for the life-saving procedure, he was finally scheduled for gastric bypass surgery. Brumley went an entire 4 years without taking a bath. Number 1. John Brower Minnoch. Records indicate that John Browner Moke was the heaviest man ever measured at over 1,400 pounds. However, due to his immense bulk, failing health, and limited mobility, it was impossible to bring him down to a scale. Nevertheless, Minnoch holds the title of the heaviest person ever and there's no disputing that fact. He also won the title of the largest weight difference between a married couple when his 110-pound fiancée, Jeanette, said yes to marriage on their special day, despite being obese. Since childhood, Minnoch's weight was never a problem. However, it became even worse when he was diagnosed with massive generalized tedoma, a condition that doctors determined was incurable and difficult to treat. About a dozen firefighters and medics had to work together to put Minnoch on a modified stretcher and onto a ferry to get him to the University of Washington Medical Center. His treatment plan included a strict diet that included cutting back on calories to 1,200 per day, which helped him lose up to 900 pounds, earning him the title of largest obese man to ever recorded. What video would you guys want us to do next? Do let me know in the comment section down below. Also, did I miss anyone out? Let me know. I'm Tech Cargo. This has been most amazing top 10. If you like this video, make sure you give it a good thumbs up. Share it with a friend, and most importantly, make sure you are subscribed to our fabulous channel. I will see you beautiful people next time.